Hey gamers, this is Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and today I'm going to be reviewing Fantastic Factories, designed by Joseph Z. Chin and Justin Faulkner. Fantastic Factories is an engine building game in which your ultimate goal is to get the most victory points, and you do that by building buildings that have prestige points on them and by using your factories to manufacture goods. Whoever has the highest total of points between prestige points and points for goods is going to win. All of that building and production, however, also sets a natural timer on the game. The game stops when someone has either built 10 buildings or produced 12 goods. Turns happen in two phases. The first phase is the market phase, where you purchase cards from these two market rows. One of your options during the market phase is to just take another blueprint card, which you can add to your hand for free. The other is to pay a card in order to hire one of these contractors up here and attain their immediate benefit. When you pay for one card with another in this game, you look at the symbols that are up here in the top left. So for example, if I wanted to hire the foreman, I would have to pay up my obelisk because it has a matching symbol. If it's my market phase and I don't want to buy anything, I do have the option of paying one of my resources, so steel or power, to clear out one of these rows and completely replace it with new cards. Once the market phase is over, we move into the work phase, and our workers are going to be these dice. So the first thing that you do in your work phase is roll your dice, and then you figure out the order in which you would like to deploy them. In the beginning of the game, your options are relatively limited because you won't have built very many cards yet. Once you've placed some cards out in your tableau, there will be other things that you can do with your dice that give you some more flexibility on your turn. But other than the special actions on the cards, there are some base things that you can do with your dice. The first thing that you can do is research. You can put a die of any value in here, but it's just going to get you one more blueprint card. So this is a good place to dump, say, your ones. You can also go here to generate power. So if you have a 1, a 2, or a 3, and you put that die here, you will get power according to the pip number on that die. So if I put a die with 2 pips here, I'll get 2 power. If I decide to put this 3 here, I would get 3 power. Our other option is to come here to the mine, which can accept dice of values 4, 5, or 6. No matter what the die value is you place down here, you only get 1 steel, because steel is the most precious resource in the game. But if I were going to put my 4, my 5, and my 6 here, that would generate 3 steel for me. Fantastic Factories also gives you bonuses for putting dice with matching values in any of these areas. Fantastic Factories also rewards you for putting dice with the same value in the same area in your headquarters. For example, if I have 2 matching dice, I get 1 extra resource of the type that I was going for. So if I put 2 4s here in the mine, I would get 2 steel and then 1 extra for having a pair. If you put 3 of a kind in any of these sectors, you get 2 extra. So if I put 3 1s here, I would get 3 power for the 1s and then 2 extra for having 3 matching dice. My other option on any given turn is to build, and for that you need to look at the blueprint cards in your hand. Each building in your hand has a build cost that is listed over here on the left. To build any building in this game, you're going to need to discard a card with the same symbol. So for example, right now I could not build an obelisk because I don't have another blue symbol. However, I could build either the mega factory or the power plant, but I'd have to discard one of these in order to build the other as part of the cost. Then the rest of your cost is just going to be some combination of steel and power. So let's say that I was determined to build a mega factory this turn. I actually could do it. So I take my dice that I rolled, and let's say that I just go ahead and put 4, 5, and 6 here to get 1, 2, 3 steel. I now have 4 steel when my starting amount was 1. Then in order to build this mega factory, I'm going to have to pay my power plant because it has that same symbol on it, so this will go into discard. And then I'm going to need to pay 3 steel and 2 power as detailed on the card. Once a card is built in your area, you can use it right away. So I couldn't use this one because it requires 3 dice of the same value. However, if you have enough dice, you are able to build a structure during your turn and then immediately power it with whatever the special text at the bottom of the card requires. Over time, you're going to get more buildings down here that work well in combination, that give you more things to do with your dice, and that help you create fun chain reactions that will produce goods and make it easier to make more buildings in the game. Fantastic Factories does also come with a solo mode. So in a solo game, you're going to be playing against the machine that plays its own turn. So normally in a multiplayer game, we'd actually be rolling one of the different colors of dice that's available in the game. But when you're playing solo, you roll these gray dice, and it's the machine that gets to roll the full set of colors. So on the machine's turn, it's actually very easy upkeep. You roll all of the dice. The first thing you look at is the green die. That's going to tell you what the machine is going to build this turn. No matter what, the machine will build a building, but if it's 1, 2, 3, or 4, it'll take card 1, 2, 3, or 4. So in this case, the solar array, and then the market will refill. If the green die is a 5 or a 6, then the AI is going to take the top card from the blueprint deck and then wipe clean either the top or bottom market row, depending on the roll. The other colored dice are going to tell us whether the machine is going to produce goods. And it produces goods based on the number of buildings it has in a given color. So for example, here in the red, it will not produce a good because it will need to have 5 or more red buildings in order for a 5 to produce on red. However, the machine will already produce a good on blue because it has 1 blue building, which is greater than or equal to the 1 on the dice, which means that the concrete plant is going to produce 1 good, and the machine is already on its way to victory. Once the machine has done an action based on the green die and then calculated how many goods it will receive, its turn is over and it goes right back to you, which means that the AI is fairly easy upkeep in this game. There are definitely a lot of things to appreciate about Fantastic Factories. I think the thing I've noticed most about the game is how well it works, in the sense that it's just very slick. It's a very smooth game. You can tell that it was really play tested a lot and that a lot of thought was put in to the engines that it's possible to build in the game. Based on my research on Board Game Geek, this is Joseph Z. Chen's first game, and I would absolutely play another game from the same designer. The other thing I like about Fantastic Factories that I think more games should pay attention to is that there's always at least something to do with your dice on your turn, so you never have a turn where absolutely nothing gets done, even if you don't roll the dice that you need. That said, my first concern about the game also comes from the dice. Especially early on in the game, before I had an engine that really was going, I had enough bad rolls or kind of sluggish rolls that I occasionally felt frustrated, or like my early turns were mostly dead. My other concern about Fantastic Factories is a little bit more subjective, and that's that while the game is very functional and even very well put together, I just don't think it's that exciting. One thing that I was excited about when I got a copy of the game is that it has a solo mode, which is untrue of other engine builders that I love, like Splendor or Gizmos. However, unlike those other games, I didn't find myself super excited for every single turn and, watching the game state like a hawk and feeling really pumped up while I played. Fantastic Factories was fine, and I enjoyed making combos and chaining my dice together, but I didn't feel that gut excitement that makes a game stay in my collection. It's a totally solid game, but there's not enough that's fresh about it to hold my attention for very long. And again, that's a very subjective way to feel about the game, and your mileage may vary depending on how you feel about engine builders in general and whether you are looking for an engine builder in your collection. However, while Fantastic Factories is fine, it's not one that's going to stay in my solo rotation forever. So because it's a totally solid game that I think a lot of people will enjoy, but it just doesn't have that edge for me, I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. Happy gaming.
Thanks so much for watching another Dice Tower video. If you enjoy our videos, subscribe to the channel for more fun, comprehensive board game coverage. Also, consider joining us at one of our events. Come to Dice Tower Retreat, a small, intimate gathering where gaming is king. Join us for Dice Tower Cruise, the largest board game cruise. Attend Dice Tower West in Las Vegas for gaming fun on the West Coast, or Dice Tower East in Orlando in sunny Florida. Dice Tower Conventions, the friendliest gaming conventions on Earth. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower.